Okay. Okay, I am really sorry about that. I don't know what that was, but hopefully we are back. And yeah, let me, okay. So I was trying to adjust my screen and I think I hit my monitor and I don't know, issues. Anyway, what was I saying? Okay. Yeah, so consider subscribing. That would really help us grow, and it would help us reach more providers and help them with whatever issues they might be facing in their business. So, housekeeping. I think I was at that point. Housekeeping. So, I think they're doing some tree trimming or something next door. It's actually quiet right now, so maybe they're done. But that is the noise behind me, so I'm sorry if it's extra loud on your screen or in your your audio, but maybe they're done. I don't hear too much more. But anyway, that's what that noise is, if you hear that. And the dogs, because there's work going on next door, I have them inside, so hopefully if you hear jingling, that's them, and hopefully they won't bark as well and make even more noise. All right. I start the show every week by giving a bit of a disclaimer. No, they're still going. A bit of a disclaimer by saying that the questions and issues that we talk about here on the show are from fellow child care providers, and my opinion and advice are based on my own 20 years experience being a child care provider, an owner, or research, or someone close to me in my network facing something similar. But of course, you are free to run your business the best way for you, and we're just here to provide a different perspective and give you some ideas on how to handle an issue if you're facing something similar. But feel free to take what works and leave the rest. Okay? All right. Let's see. Oh, and I want to remind you, if you are joining me live, again, please come in and say hi so I can see you. And you have a question, go ahead and submit it in the comments or in the chat, and I'll do my best to try and address it during the show. But if not, then I'll come back after the show and answer it. Okay? Hi, Deborah. Deborah Hurley's joining us. Thanks for coming again, Deborah. I'm always happy to see you. Let's see. And if you have to leave early, you can't catch the full episode. Know that you can always watch the replay here on the page. I'm doing my best to get the backlog of videos up on our YouTube channel, but you can also go over to the YouTube channel and get caught up on all the episodes over there. And yeah, once I move it over there, then I take it down from the page. But it's on the page until I do that. Okay, so let's see what is going on in the Thriving Childcare universe this week. Okay, so first, today the episode is sponsored by the Provider Planner and Organizer. I always do this. That is the Stripe version right behind me that you can see. That is our luxury planner just for childcare providers. And I've said this for a while, but it is still a really good time to get a planner. It's still the beginning of the year. I mean, we're just into February, and you may have changed your plans since the beginning of the year. You may want to now get those plans down in a planner so you can start executing them in your business and accomplish those goals that you have for your personal and business life in 2024. So I've left a link in the comments where you can go over and check out the planner, and you can flip through it and see what it's got to offer and all that's in it. Excuse me. We do still have a few of the hardback planners available. Once those are out of stock, then the soft cover will be available and the ebook version, and we do have the newest version, which is a digital planner that you can use on GoodNotes or an app like that on your tablet. So we have several different versions, whichever suits you best. please feel free to go over and check that out. I'm trying to refresh my laptop, although I can see the comments here, so I'm not really going to worry about that because it's going to be trying to close on me. Okay, so do go over and check out the planner. Okay. All right. Let's see. Last week on the blog, I am the author and writer of the Thriving Childcare blog. I wrote 29 amazing Valentine's Day projects for daycare. So there's a link in the comments or in the chat where you can go over and check out that post. And there's 29 ideas. So if you're looking for ideas this month to celebrate and do projects, Valentine projects with the kids, there are 29 projects over there, so you could really do a project a day, a different project a day, but there's definitely a lot of ideas to choose from. So go over and check that out when you get a chance, maybe after the show. Okay? All right. So I have got some big news. I've got some big news. I'm so excited about this, you guys. I really, really am excited. So, I am going to be teaching the upcoming First Steps. I want to read it exactly. The First Steps Family Childcare from Home series for the Inland Empire Women's Business Center. I am one of their business counselors, and I am going to be running this 10-week series, and it starts next week. But here's the best part. You are all invited. Whether you're in the Inland Empire or not, you can attend this free business training. You heard me right, free. And I just want you to know this does not happen all the time. I don't know if I'll be able to offer it to this broad of an audience again, but right now you can definitely enroll in this free training. Like I said, it's a 10-week course, 10-week program, and it's designed to equip you with the tools and knowledge needed to run a home daycare business like a pro. So whether you are a newbie or you are a seasoned provider, there are tips and business strategies here for everyone. There's something for everyone in this series, okay? But there are limited seats, I will say that. So my advice would be to go over. I've left a link, like I said, in the comments for you to go over and check out all of the information regarding the series and see that it's free, and for you to enroll. I would advise you to do that as soon as possible, because not only are there limited seats, the series starts next week. So next week on the 15th, the series will begin, and it is a cohort, so we won't be taking any more enrollments after that point. So you have till the 15th, but I would say go over now, because once the spots are gone, the spots are gone. And if I am able to offer it to you again in the future, then I will mention it here first. But go over and check it out. Like I said, it's free. You don't get this extensive of business training for free nowadays. Okay, you don't. Usually there is some fee, and it's usually not very, very inexpensive. So do go over and check that out. I'm super excited about this series, and I cannot wait to get started next week. So go over and check that out. There's a link to register in the comments. Okay, can't wait to see you in the class. I would love to see you there. All right. So this morning we're gonna talk about some questions that providers have. But before we do that, I have been going to the planner, and I'm looking to see if there are any events or observances that we can maybe create projects or even some meals around, to do something different with the children. And well, I'll tell you something in a minute. But okay, so today's the 7th of February. On the 9th, which is, what's today, Wednesday? So Friday is National Pizza Day. Okay. I don't personally know anyone who doesn't like pizza. Well, actually I do. I do know one person, but he's weird. Grown person. I'm not talking about a child. I'm not calling a child weird. It's a friend of ours. Anyway, he doesn't like cheese in general, which is strange. But Friday is National Pizza Day. So it might be perfect. I don't know about you, but in the summer I used every excuse to get a pizza, especially on Friday for the kids. Number one, they loved it and they'd eat it. It made easy for me to serve and easy to clean up. So Friday's National Pizza Day. You could go and get some pizza dough and have the kids decorate their own pizzas, or what do you call it? Is it decorate a pizza? Deborah, would you say it's decorate a pizza or it's assemble a pizza or something like that? But you could have them do that and then just heat it up in the oven. They'd probably be super excited to do that. If you don't want to serve pizza or that's not on the menu this week, you could have them create pizza with Play-Doh and make that an activity, right? Deborah says create. Love it. So you can have them create their own pizzas, or you can have them create Play-Doh pizzas. Maybe you could talk about the different toppings to put on pizzas. Maybe you have a book that talks about pizzas. You know, there's these, I was talking about it either last week or the week before, and I couldn't think of the name of the book, but there's this book called On Top of Spaghetti, because I think it was National Spaghetti Day or something. But there's usually books about just about everything nowadays. So have fun with that. Try and be creative and do something fun with the kids for National Pizza Day. Let me get some water. I wasn't feeling well yesterday, so I really didn't know if I was going to be here today, if I was going to have to cancel today's show, but I'm feeling much better. But I think I have a little bit of a frog in my throat, so forgive me if you're hearing that. All right, so that was National Pizza Day. The 11th, which, let me see, when is the 11th? I'm looking at my calendar. The 11th is Sunday. So you could either maybe do this on Friday or maybe do this on Monday, but on February 11th is National Make a Friend Day. That's perfect for daycare, right? I mean, maybe you have some new children in your program and you can make them feel special, or you can make all the children in your program feel special by having them celebrate their friends that are in daycare or childcare. I know some people get offended about that word. I know when I would tour, I would explain to parents that this is a place, this is an environment where children make their first friends, and kind of excuse me, kind of help them to understand that this is such a special time in their life, because they're learning these social values and social skills that they're going to carry forth when they go into school and later in life. But this is a place. This is a place when they make their first friends. And I remember when I started my business many years ago, over 20 years ago, I was so excited to see the kids look forward to their friends arriving in the morning. And when I would have a child out, you have to understand, when you're in a family childcare environment, I'm sure you can relate to this. There are not a whole lot of kids, typically. So the children, especially if they were firstborn or only children in their family, this would be where they interacted with other children, right? And so when one would be out sick or just would be on vacation or something, the other children would ask, where is Johnny? Where is Susie? Where is Maria? And it was so cool to me, because I didn't anticipate them looking forward to seeing their friends like that, and it was just so cool to see. So anyway, February 11th is National Make a Friends Day. Why don't you figure out how to make a big deal about that? Maybe have some special stickers, Yeah, Deborah says, yeah, they don't like absences. Yeah, the other kids, they don't like it when the other kids are gone because they're like, you have to understand this is their routine, right? It's kind of like any adult or anybody. Once you have a routine, you notice interruptions in the routine. So they notice and miss their friends. So yeah, they don't like absences, Deborah. You're absolutely right. So anyway, the 11th is National Friends Day. Maybe think about doing something special on Monday, maybe a special friend sticker. We actually have a first friend sticker. I'll come back and leave a link. You can download that for free and maybe cut those out and have those ready for the kids on Monday just to celebrate first friends. And yeah, so think about doing something like that. All right. Now, and then the 12th, which must be Monday, right? Must be Monday. Yeah, Monday is Abraham Lincoln's birthday, right? So we typically celebrate in the United States President's Day. We combine Abraham Lincoln and George Washington's birthday into one President's Day in February, and I think that's the following week, obviously. So, by the way, you might want to think about sending out reminders. If you are going to be closed on President's Day, you might want to think about sending out reminders now, just to remind the parents. I know a lot of providers think that's doing too much, but I would rather remind them than have them knock on my door on President's Day. And that's happened to me, so that's why I'm saying that. But anyway, the Monday is Abraham Lincoln's birthday. If you have a story about Abraham Lincoln, you might want to think about reading that to the children. You could just have a discussion about what it means to be the president and the United States. He was our 12th president, I do believe. Was it 12th or 14th? Gosh, I can't remember right now. Whatever number he was, you could talk about that number. You could bring that up as a lesson of the day. So think about maybe taking advantage of any of those observances and creating something special at your childcare for the kids. I have to say, I had a special day on Sunday. Was my birthday, February 4th. And we have a big storm. You know, I'm in California, so we had a big storm this past few days, and it started on Sunday, and it was supposed to be apocalyptic. But my sisters invited me to a brunch, and the storm hadn't set in yet, so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go, because it wasn't around the corner. Oh, thank you, Deborah. Excuse me, Denitra. Thank you, Denitra. She said happy birthday. Thank you. 16th president. Thank you. Not even the 12th or the 14th. See, Deborah, I need you here because I totally forgot. 16. Okay, 16. So anyway, we were going to brunch, and it wasn't close to me. It was a bit of a drive, but it wasn't too bad because it was earlier in the day, and the storm had not set in. And because they had scared everybody off the roads for this big, huge storm, the drive was pretty nice. So I got there. We had a nice time. It was really awesome. And just as we were leaving, it was starting to rain. So I was like, okay, it's time for me to get my butt down the freeway and get back home. So anyway, so on Sunday was my birthday, but and I'm finally old enough to drink. I'm 25. But I celebrate all month. I was telling a friend of mine, I'm like, oh, I'm old enough to celebrate all month, so I'll be accepting happy birthdays all month long. Oh, and my daughter, she bought me one of these smart mugs. I don't know if you can see it. And what it does is, I think this was awesome. I've been wanting one of these for a while, but it was probably not something I was ever going to get for myself, right? And she got it for my birthday and sent it. My dog sent flowers, but this keeps my coffee hot all morning because I'm always reheating it. And I used to have one of those warmer things on that keeps it hot on my desk, but it tended to cook the coffee, which made it taste not so good. So anyway, I got this really cool mug, and it works perfect. So let me know if you want to know about it. She shared the link with me because I think she's going to get one herself. Okay. All right. So we've taken care of a lot of business. Let's get into some questions while I still have time. Okay. So the first question is, hey, Adrienne, I've been thinking about strategies to keep all my childcare spots filled and maintain a waiting list. I'm curious for someone like you who's managed to achieve that. What would you say is the most important thing you did to ensure your spots are consistently filled? Any key strategies or tips you can share would be super helpful as I work towards achieving the same goal. Thanks a bunch. Okay, so first of all, to the providers who are with me, thank you, Deborah. Deborah said happy birthday. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Taking birthday wishes all month. So what would you say to this provider about how to keep your spots filled and maintain a waiting list? I actually do have a lot to share when it comes to this. You guys let me know what your recommendations are, what you have tried and has worked for you. But I would say, first of all, take some time. Like I said, this is a new year. It's still, I know we're not saying Happy New Year anymore. Sorry about the noise. We're not taking Happy New Year's anymore, but it is still the beginning of the year. Okay? So, take some time and look at your enrollment and see if you have children that will be aging up or aging out of your program. Maybe you have some families that have already indicated to you that they will be moving on at some point this year, and you already have that information. And start marketing. You know, I'm a big proponent. I am so sorry, guys. I hope that this isn't as loud as it is for me here. But I'm a big proponent of marketing all the time, whether you have spots open or not, okay? Because, number one, you never know when you are going to have a spot open. It could be tomorrow, okay? Sometimes it comes out of the blue. Number two, you can always put them on a waiting list and get back to them should later this month or in a week or tomorrow you do have an opening. And number three, you can always pass it along to someone in your network or have a referral list that you give them if you don't have spots open. And it keeps you marketing all the time. You don't have to remember to do it if you're always doing it. Okay, so that's one of the that's several reasons why I think you should be marketing all the time for your business. Okay, next, I'm also a big proponent, like I was saying, about forecasting for open spots. So if you do know that some children or a child is going to be aging up or aging out, or somebody's moving on, then you can set up what I call pre-enrollment. And what I would do is, have tours specifically for pre-enrollment. So maybe somebody's pregnant, maybe somebody is looking for later in the year, and you know that that's going to coincide with a child that's aging up or aging out or whatever. You can have them pre-enroll and lock in that spot. Now, I've talked about this many times before. I'm sure that there's an article over on the blog about pre-enrollment, and I will come back and leave a link to that. But basically, it is just as you would imagine. You pre-enroll for that spot. I would highly suggest that you take a deposit to reserve that spot, because in the past, and this is just a lesson that I learned as well many years ago, if you do not ask for a deposit, then there's nothing to say they won't continue to look for other childcare arrangements. And if they find one that is, let's say, cheaper than yours or something, then they have no skin in the game with you. They will probably just switch over. I've had that happen to me, and I held the spot, and I could have perhaps filled it obviously with somebody else, but because they didn't have any skin in the game, they did not feel obligated to me. You know, they don't have a relationship with me, and so they bounced, and I was pretty perturbed. And so finally I realized, oh, well, I will ask for a deposit, and you can decide if that deposit is going to go toward the first week of tuition. You can decide that it is non-refundable. It's up to you. It's your business. You can create the parameters around there. So you should really probably think about how you want to construct your program. But that helped me to ensure that these spots were reserved and filled the majority of the time, especially the infant spots. We have here in California, which I guess a lot of other places do as well, a limit on spots in general that you can have in your childcare business, but specifically infants, you're limited to a certain number of infants, as you are toddlers, but of course you can imagine infants, you're limited to a smaller number. So I didn't want those spots to be vacant for long, because for various reasons I won't get into them, you can probably imagine. But so that is one way that I kept spots filled. But let me go, and I see some comments here, so let me see what Denitra Scott says. Focus on the families you have. They will be better ambassadors for your program. So that is excellent advice. Let your current clients be affiliates for your program, essentially. Encourage them. Tell them in your newsletter. Tell them at various times throughout the year that they should spread the word. And do they have family and friends that might be in need of childcare? Depending on what your childcare offers as far as services, there's probably somebody in their network that would be looking for childcare. Another thing that I'm thinking off the cuff here is one of the other ways that I love to do it is to develop a relationship with some of the businesses in your community. So if you have a hospital that's a large business, or even the smaller businesses, let them know you're there in the community, because maybe their new hires would want. I know when I have my children, I always wanted them to be in close proximity to where I worked, as opposed to where my house was, so that I could get to them, and so that pickup was easier. I didn't have to worry about inclement weather and not being able to get there and pick them up on time. So develop relationships with the businesses in the community. Let them know you're there. Let them know what type of services you offer, and see if you can leave flyers, see if you can give them business cards, and stay in communication with them. You can probably get some referrals there as well. But just like Denitra was saying, think about offering a referral program. I believe it was Deborah in another episode. She was talking about the referral program that she had set up, and make it robust. Maybe it's a gift card. Maybe it's, I don't know, 2 weeks of tuition, or a month of tuition, or whatever, or something that you don't have to lay out the cash for, that you don't have to come up with upfront cash, and put some parameters around it. Make sure it's a family that you want to give a referral bonus. You want to give for a family that actually enrolls, not just comes for a tour. Or maybe you want to give them for both. Maybe you want to give a lesser incentive for if they just come for a tour. You get to set that up. But consider offering a referral program in your program, so that you can do just what Denitra was saying. Use your clientele as ambassadors for your program. Okay? Deborah Hurley says, I have to roll back up because it's rolling. You guys, okay, it's rolling. Okay, what do you charge for a deposit for your future space? So, Deborah, it evolved over time, right? So I believe, because I haven't done it in a while, I believe I charged a percentage of what the weekly tuition was. And I also set a limit on how far out I wanted to pre-enroll them. In other words, I really didn't want to pre-enroll them for half a year. If it was a month or 3 months, then I would take that amount and decide on what the deposit should look like. So it's really kind of individual, determination. But I'll tell you what, it wasn't even. I have to give props. It wasn't even my idea. It was a client's idea. I had a client years and years and years ago, and just so you know how long ago, this particular child is graduating from high school this year. I can't even believe it. I just can't even believe it. This was one of those children that won't let you out of their sight. Like literally, I couldn't move. He wanted to be on me all the time. Anyway, she had toured with me. And like I said, this was early on, so it never even occurred to me. Sometimes you'll get business ideas from your clients, you guys. Just pay attention. And she said after she toured with me, she wasn't going to need the child care immediately. And I was like, okay, well, hit me up when you do need it. Hopefully I'll still have space. Well, this was going to be for an infant. So I really didn't know if I would still have the spot when she needed it. So she called me back and she said, you know what, Miss Adrienne, I'm gonna give you an offer that you can't refuse. Okay? And I was like, tell me more. And she said, I am gonna pay for the spot now, moving forward, so that I can ensure that the spot is available when I need it. And she paid, listen to me, she paid full price for that spot from that point on. And I was astounded. So you guys, offering quality services and being able to explain that and represent that in your program can go a long way as far as credibility and what, like I said, what it represents. Because apparently this woman, she said it. She said, I want my child with you. And so that was the first time I did it. And then when it came up again, I thought that's a bit much. Okay? I didn't feel like it was fair and whether or not I could convince somebody to pay full price for the entire time that I was holding a spot. So that's when I would look at how long they were asking me to hold the spot, right? And even if that spot was filled currently, and then I would take that number and we would both agree on a deposit amount. That way, I felt like the spot was secure. They felt like their spot was reserved. So it's really an individual thing. All right, you could decide on a percentage of however much that tuition is during that period of time. I've done that. But yeah, that's how I kind of came up with the amount for the deposit for that. Let's see. Let me roll back. She said, how much do I charge for future space? Okay. How many weeks in advance would you permit pre-enrollment? Okay, so that was something that evolved over time as well. I really don't like to go beyond 3 months. Because I also, and here's the reason why, I also had somebody who wanted it for a longer period of time. And even though they were sending me the deposit every month, because I told them, I said, listen, if they didn't give it all to me, then I would say, okay, every month you have to give me this amount. They would send it to me, and I would stay in communication with them, just to make sure nothing's changed, nothing's been delayed, nothing, anything can happen. And yet and still at the end, or toward the end, when it got closer to the time for them to actually enroll or attend, she changed her mind and she decided to have a nanny for a certain number of months or moving forward. Now, she forfeited that whole deposit, But I felt like, you know what, I felt more comfortable for myself if I didn't have to keep track of something that went beyond 3 months. You know what I mean? So it's up to you. That was my own personal decision for my business. But yeah, that's how long. I would prefer it to be a month. But I understand sometimes, they want to stay home with the child if they have more off work time. What do you call that? You know what I'm talking about. They want to stay as long as they can with the child. So I understand that. So yeah, for me it was 3 months. Deborah Hurley says, I do give parents a discount for referrals that enroll. Yeah, I thought you did, Deborah. Let me roll back up. I did 20% off for 12 weeks for incentive. See, that's good. That's good. I mean, most parents will take anything off their tuition. That as good. But if you make it robust, you know what I mean? Then they're more enticed to share the word. You know what I mean? So that one's a good one, Deborah. 20% off for 12 weeks. That's good. That's like a full, isn't that a full quarter? Yeah, that's like a full quarter. Yeah, that's a good deal. Denitra Scott says, when it comes to incentives, know your families. Yeah, exactly. Know what they would want. Deborah Hurley said the 20% off, but maybe they do want a gift card, or maybe they would want a coffee mug. I don't know, but know your clientele. That is true. And there's a lot of things you can do. You can get really. I said I will. I'm gonna at least write a post about how to set up a killer referral program, because I think we could all benefit from having some different ideas and yeah, just coming up with the best referral program for your business. See. Deborah Hurley says, this is good advice. Thank you, Deborah. I appreciate that. Denisha Scott says, I'm referring to those that take advantage of your incentives. There's always those people, right? Exactly. So if you know that, know the habits of your clients. That is a good one. That is a good one. But yeah, so that for me and my business served me well. And like I said, it was and I'll tell you something else too, but that was not an original idea from Adrienne. I was paying attention to that client when she said that, and of course I took, by the way, it was an offer too good to refuse. I was just getting started, and I was like so excited about that, and we had a really good relationship. We did, this particular family, we did. And like I said, I'm still in touch with them, and some of those kids from that era are in college now. They are about to go to college, and it's just amazing to me how much time has passed. But I did want to say something else. That wasn't the only idea I got from a client. Unfortunately, I got another idea, but I got it too late. I wasn't paying attention. That's why I said, you guys pay attention to your clients, because number one, what that is kind of business 101. Okay. Know your clientele, just like Denitra is saying here. But I had another client, and her child was enrolled, and he would not nap, you guys. He just wouldn't nap. And it wasn't that he was difficult. It was that he was disruptive, because he would either sing or do something else so that he wouldn't fall asleep. But in talking with the parents, I realized they didn't require him to take a nap at home. So eventually, after me telling mom enough times that, he didn't take a nap today, she went and found a half-day program and pulled him and put him over there. And I was beating myself up, because I was like, it never occurred to me to offer that to her. That would have solved both of our problems. Okay. Number one, he wouldn't nap. so he could just go home half day. And that was apparently the right fit for that family, because that's what she went out and found. So don't you know, right after that, I did offer that type of program. Okay, I offered a half day program. So knowing your clients, knowing the needs in your community is so beneficial for how you can market and fill those spots so that there aren't vacant spots, knowing what they need. Denetra Scott has said before, you know, go into these mommy Facebook groups. And I say go into the local ones too, the local ones to you, and see what they're talking about. See what they're, I'm saying, don't go in there and just only be promoting your business. Be a resource. Talk to them like we're talking here, and find out what their needs are, what their concerns are. Maybe they're concerned overall about putting their child in childcare. I had clients like that over the years. And I was able to educate them. I was able to tell them this is where they make their first friends. This is where they learn social skills. This is where they get comfortable, so the next phase there is not traumatic. I had children that had been with a nanny for years, and just being around other children was traumatic for them. So this is an opportunity to educate parents and to allay their concerns, and if you know, to let them know they're coming into a quality childcare environment, and how much that benefits their child, as opposed to the angst and the worry that they have. Okay, so yeah, what was I saying? Oh, about the services. You can learn so many things in those groups about the people that you serve. And that is a great place to kind of tap into what their needs are. And then, you know, because a lot of times there aren't those services in the community. People aren't doing what I'm saying right now. Other businesses, other childcare businesses are not necessarily tapping into what their market needs. That's what this is. And you might be able to fill a need, and you might be the only one. And you can imagine what that'll do for your numbers, for your enrollment. So consider doing that. Seriously, consider, you know, going into these groups and paying attention to the needs in your community. So it says, let me go back to the comments again. Let's see. Deborah says, no, Denisha says, okay, no, I reread those. Deborah said, that's my problem with school-age children on breaks. Interruptions at nap. Yeah, tell me about it. I will say, Deborah, you know, this is probably so obvious, but when I worked at the preschool before I started my business, it was really cool because it was in the summer, and they had all these different age groups, but they were able to have different spaces for each age group, so that you can imagine the school age, especially the, you know, mid-age, middle school, whatever, that age, they weren't going to take a nap, right? They just weren't. So they had their own space, and they were reading books or doing quiet activities during that time. So Deborah probably knows this, so it's probably not going to help her, but if you are a newer provider, consider that when you're getting started. If you're going to be taking school age, is there a space where you can kind of separate them at nap time so that the nappers are not being interrupted? And it's probably, I don't know, for me, for my setup, it wouldn't have worked to send them outside, because then they're going to be making a bunch of noise, and the napping children are going to hear that and be excited and want to be outside. So it's just going to cause a problem. But consider that. Is there a way to separate them, or what kind of activities are you going to suggest happens during this quiet time? I actually had a client that I had for many, many years, and their children got older and older, and they fussed at their parents about me making them take a nap. And I was like, no. I don't tell them they have to take a nap. I say, it's quiet time. And during quiet time, this is what we're doing. Now, what would happen is, and what the kids would be perturbed about is, you know what happened, right? It's quiet time, there's music on. They fell asleep. It's not my fault they fell asleep. It was to my benefit that they fell asleep, but I did not tell them they had to take a nap. And so I told Mom then, and she was like, oh, really? Psst, whatever then. I was like, exactly. They can bring a book, they can, but this is quiet time, okay? Deborah says, here's the thing, school ages are loud even in quiet time. I know this. I know. What can you do? She says, I do quiet activities, but they are loud even if they're reading. Yeah, I know. That's why I'm saying I know this probably wasn't going to help you. All right, let me get to the next question. We had so much going on. We had so much fun with that one. Okay, so let's see. I probably only have time for one more question. So let's talk about this because it kind of goes with what we've been talking about. It says, hey, Adrienne, I'm looking to spruce up my outdoor play area for the upcoming spring and summer season and thought you might have some great ideas. What are some unique or fun ideas you have in your outdoor play area? My setup is already pretty good, but I'm eager to add some new elements, especially since most of my kids are younger, though I do have some school-age kids during the summer. Any suggestions for making our outdoor playtime even more exciting? Thanks a bunch. So let me know what your thoughts are. I actually, for my own family and friends, I've been trying to convince my husband that we need more of these kind of games. I've actually started making some, what do you call it? Cocktail table. Do you call it a cocktail table? What do you call? I always lose the words when I'm trying to explain something. It's a cocktail table, and it's also called something else. I can't think of what it is right now. But anyway, I've been talking to my husband about having more of these games around because sometimes we do entertain and it's fun to talk and watch the game or whatever, but it's also fun to do some different things. And I used to be a big fan of Z Gallery, and they've since closed, but they would have all these cocktail table games. And so anyway, I've started picking up little things, and I picked up a Jenga game that I'm actually going to paint and make it look fun and whatever. I actually saw one of those that's made out of onyx, and it was $100. And I was like, I can just paint my Jenga game. I'm not paying $100, but it did look cool. It did kind of go with your decor or whatever. But anyway, so I want to do the same thing outside, and they have Jenga games that you can buy or you can make. There's plenty of DIYs. Go to Pinterest and you can find a DIY for this. Just go get the lumber and have it cut and what have you. But I wanted to make like a Jenga game, and then I was at a conference over the last summer, and they had these, you remember the Connect 4 game? They had these oversized Connect 4 games, and that's something you could do with the kids. The Jenga game, I would suggest that be for maybe the older school age kids, because you don't want them hitting kids over the head with with wood. But those kind of oversized games would be fun. I've seen, I don't know if the kids want to play chess, but those kind of things. And sometimes I will say this, and I'm guilty of it too. Sometimes we don't realize that if we just rotate some of the stuff we already have, when you bring it out again, it's brand new. They haven't seen it in a long time. They haven't, even if it's the same kids, and it's fun. So those are kind of the things that I'm going to be doing with my own outside space this spring and summer. I actually cannot wait. I want to get, like I said, I bought the Jenga game for inside, so I'm probably going to get the oversized one for outside. And you can find these already pre-made. I saw the smaller and the larger Jenga type game at Joann's. I'm sure that Michael's has something like that. You might check Hobby Lobby if you shop there to find these kind of oversized games that you can put outside. Something else that I always wanted, and I never purchased, never got it set up, but I always wanted like a teepee outside that the kids could go in and just kind of hang out and have a quiet space outside. But I also thought it would be really cool to see on tours and whatnot, and I just thought it was cool. So something like that, something that kind of changes the space. But yeah, so what ideas do you guys have about maybe adding some more fun things to your outside space? Let me go up. Blah, 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 blah. Denitra Scott says an outdoor classroom project is a great resource. That would be cool. Maybe, you know, I toured, I think this was when I was doing my internship, long time before I started my business. We would have to go to different spaces, different childcare spaces, and kind of give, do, not a review, but you know what I mean. And I remember them having the different chalkboards, the outdoor chalkboards, and they were made of like PVC. And you can find this on Pinterest as well. And I think I might have had a blog post about different outdoor things. You can also get, so you could make a chalkboard for each, or an easel is what it is, for each of the kids. To do artwork outside, maybe with some watercolor paints that you could just wash away so it wouldn't be permanent. You could also maybe, I'm gonna have to call him back, my son, so it might be important, so I'm gonna end on time today. Maybe you can paint part of your cinder block wall with some chalkboard paint, some outdoor paint. There's lots of things that you can translate from indoor to outdoor spaces now, so think about doing something like that. Deborah Hurley says, I have a 10 by 10 foot sandbox that they will play in forever. Exactly. That's a nice size sandbox. Yeah. And then you know what? One summer, I purchased one of those like water play parks. So we weren't just playing with the balloons anymore and doing that. They had an actual water play park, and that is undoubtedly an investment, but and it's usually just for the summer, but it changed the whole space, you can imagine, and they were so excited to do something like that. But yeah, start looking at, go on Amazon. There's a lot of different things that you can, maybe a toss game, an oversized toss game. You might be able to make something out of those pool noodles that you get at Dollar Tree. I can't think. Dollar Tree. And maybe start now looking on Pinterest for ideas if you want to DIY them. And start getting ready now for the summer. Okay, so if anybody else has any other ideas, please come in after the fact. I'm sure we would love after the show, and leave it in the comments, because I'm sure we will all like some fresh ideas to kind of reinvigorate our outside space and kind of keep the kids excited and involved and engaged. Okay, all right, so that was great. That was so much fun today. So like I said, if you have a question, you do not have to wait until next week's show. You can leave it early, and I'll address it on the show whether you're here or not. Just go to thrivingchildcare.com/what's-your-question. That's thrivingchildcare.com/what's-your-question, and go ahead and leave it. Leave your question there, and I'll get to it on next week's show. Okay, so thank you guys so much. Thank you, Deborah. Thank you, Denitra, for joining me here today. And come back next week. We're having so much fun here. I love this, you guys. But I do want to thank you for joining me here, whether you're catching this on replay. I already thanked the providers who were here with me live. But yeah, and so what do I want to say? I just want to say I can't wait to continue this journey with you next week. But until then, keep thriving. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Have a great rest of the week, okay? All right. Rest of my birthday month. See you next week.